The Apache rancher who hated Christmas. Until his housekeeper and her sons changed everything. Snow lay thick over the rolling hills, blanketing the land in a silence that felt almost sacred. The old log ranch stood alone against the winter sky, its wooden walls weathered by time and sorrow. Standing outside, watching the sun sink into hues of gold and rose, was Tayen Blackwolf, an Apache rancher known for his strength, discipline, and distance from people. Tayen hated Christmas. It wasn't always that way. Once, long ago, Christmas had meant laughter, warmth, and candlelight. But years earlier, on a Christmas Eve carved deep into his memory, Tayen lost his wife and young daughter in a tragic accident. The holiday that once brought joy became a reminder of everything he had buried beneath silence. Since then, Christmas had been forbidden on the ranch. No decorations, no lights, no celebrations. Only cold, quiet days passed like the snow drifting across the land. A few months earlier, Elena had arrived at the ranch seeking work. She was a widowed woman with kind eyes and steady hands, hired as a housekeeper. She came with her 2 young sons, Lucas and Noah, whose laughter echoed through the house like something long forgotten. Elena respected Tayen's rules and rarely spoke unless spoken to, but her presence slowly softened the emptiness of the ranch. Still, one rule stood firm. "There is no Christmas in this house," Tayen had said on her first day. Elena nodded without question. But children, unlike adults, often carry hope where rules cannot reach. As Christmas Eve approached, Lucas and Noah whispered excitedly about lights, prayers, and small traditions they remembered from before their father passed away. Elena listened quietly, torn between honoring her employer's pain and her son's longing for comfort. That evening, as the sky glowed softly with sunset, Tayen stood outside when he noticed something unfamiliar. Elena and the boys were standing by the front door, carefully hanging a simple green wreath. It wasn't grand, just pine branches, a red ribbon, and a few tiny lights. Lucas reached up on his toes while Noah steadied the wreath from below, both smiling with pure joy. Anger stirred in Tayen's chest. He took a step forward, ready to stop them, but something made him pause. Elena's face held no defiance. Only gentleness. Only care. "Elena," Tayen said, his voice firm. She turned immediately. "If you want, I'll take it down," she said softly. The boys just thought the door looked lonely. Noah looked up at Tayen, his eyes wide and honest. "Christmas helps chase the sadness away," he said quietly. The word struck Tayen harder than any accusation could have. Sadness. He had lived with it for so long that it felt like part of his bones. He said nothing, turned away, and walked back into the house. That night, sleep refused to come. Sitting by the fire, Tayen stared into the flames as memories returned uninvited, his daughter running through the snow, his wife humming while decorating their door with a wreath just like the one outside. He realized then that it wasn't Christmas he hated. It was the pain of remembering. Morning came slowly. When Elena opened the door, she froze. The wreath was still there, but beside it, a small oil lamp burned warmly, casting light onto the snow. Tayen stood nearby, hands in his coat pockets. "Leave it," he said simply. That Christmas morning, Tayen did something he hadn't done in years. He sat at the table with Elena and her sons. There were no gifts, no tree, no music, just warm bread, tea, and quiet conversation. Lucas and Noah bowed their heads and invited Tayen to join their prayer. Hesitant at first, he did. In that moment, Tayen felt something unfamiliar, peace. He understood then that Christmas wasn't about forgetting loss. It was about sharing it. About allowing warmth to exist alongside grief. Elena and her sons hadn't erased his pain, but they had shown him that joy could still find its way home. From that day forward, the ranch was never as cold as it once was. And every year after, Tayen Blackwolf was the first to hang a wreath on the door, standing beside Elena and her sons, no longer alone, no longer afraid of Christmas.